Hello everyone, this is Mr. Martinez, and I'm just recording this to kind of help you guys get a little bit of a head start on how to proceed with this moose poo activity, because it can be a little bit like confusing and it's a little long. So anyways, the first thing that you guys will have to do is get this reading down. It's not super long, it's just kind of a page and a half. And we've gone over a little bit about what Isle Royale is in class before this, so hopefully this should all make sense. And as you're reading, we recommend that you highlight or underline key ideas. So like in order to highlight something, you can just click on it, select it, and then this is the highlight button, and then you just choose your highlight color. And this one's very light, but something like that. So anyways, that's how you highlight. Let me get rid of that one as well. And once you've done that, the first thing that we'll ask you for is for you to find the hypothesis. And before this, you should have already made a hypothesis on your own of what you think will happen or what you think is happening. So you're trying to find something that looks like your hypothesis, maybe not necessarily the same, that has the same ideas, but has the same structure within this paragraph, within the reading. And we want you to highlight it with green. So again, just using this button right here and using that green. So that is the end of part 1. And if you've made it this far, there's an extra credit question at the end of this that asks what my favorite food is. My favorite food is white rice. I think it goes well on anything. You can have anything ever under the sun with a side of white rice and it will probably go well. So yeah, the more you know. Anyways, part 2 is more about working with data itself. And we have this table and then we have 3 graphs. The table, don't worry too much about green or blue, because we're not asking for what is the difference between west and east. We're not really interested in that. We're interested in seeing if moose have a certain preference, just as a whole, not really based on regions. So we have 2 data points per year, right? One from the west and one from the east, and for a total of 20 data points total over the course of 10 years. And then for each of those, we have the average percent in moose diet of the 3 different plants that were present and the average percent in the environment of those 3 plants. So this is how much they ate, the percentage of their diet, and this is the percentage of how much of each of those plants was present for them to find in the environment that year. So you can see that 66 on 2004, 66% of the plants that were available were deciduous, but they ate 46.8% of what they ate was deciduous. This doesn't mean that they ate 46.8% of all the deciduous plants. This just means that 46% of the stuff that they ate were deciduous plants, 47% if you round up. So yeah, we can use this data to then make a graph that kind of shows us and compares how much the moose were eating based on how much that type of plant was present in the environment. And that's what these 3 graphs are. It's one for each kind of plant. And what we're interested in, we already went over this in class, hopefully, a little bit at least, is this middle line right here. We're looking at what's over the line and what's under the line. Anything that's like exactly on the line means that the moose ate as much of it as it was present. If it was like, for the case of this one, imagine that this dot is like right up here. It'd be more like, what that would mean is that the moose ate 20% of balsam fir, and 20% of the plants available were balsam fir. So it just kind of means that as they found balsam fir, they just ate balsam fir. But anything that's over the line means that they ate more of that than it was really present. So maybe they went out of their way to find it. Whereas anything that's under the line means that they ate less of it than it was available for them to eat. So then, now that we know that, what we want you guys to do is to take a good look at the graph and really try to find patterns. Again, don't worry too much about greens and blues. We're not really wondering about the differences between west and east. We're just looking at what moose seem to be fair to eat. So yeah, we'll just really try to make it to see if you can make sense of the pattern. See if you can find anything that you think is interesting. And for each of the 3 graphs, we ask you to make some observations and to just write them down here. And then once you've done that, you can go over into the last part of the assignment, which is just a series of questions. And let's see, I'm going to help you with the first 2. So make a claim that answers a scientific question. Do moose randomly eat plants that in their environment, or do they show a preference for certain food types? Which is the same scientific question that we had in part 1 up here, which we didn't have to do anything with until now. So do moose randomly eat plants in their environment, or do they show a preference for certain food types? Ideally, your answer here is a yes or no for each of the three. Do they show a preference for balsam fir? Yes, no. Do they show a preference for cedar? Yes, no. Do they show a preference for deciduous plants? Yes, no. And so that's based on what your observations down here should be. So yeah, this is just a yes or no question a few times. And then question 2 is really asking about the why. What evidence was used to write your claim? Like, why do you think that they showed or didn't show a preference for this type of plant, but maybe they showed a preference or didn't show a preference for this other type of plant? So this is a yes, no, and these are the why. And here we want you to just give us the why. And then once you have that, you have a very solid starting point to answer the rest of the questions. And so yeah, I hope that this video is helpful in clearing things up a little and letting you guys know how maybe I'd start the assignment if it was tasked to me. So yeah, I hope this helps.